Hello, I'm your host, Natalie Ryan Hebert, and today I'm sitting down with Mary, a former participant of the Red Tent program, to discuss her life-changing journey from debilitating PMDD symptoms to reclaiming her life. Mary shares her experiences of struggling with mood swings, fatigue, and emotional overwhelm for years, despite trying everything from medications to lifestyle changes. Through the Red Tent program and Rapid Transformational Therapy, Mary uncovered the subconscious roots of her symptoms, leading to profound healing and a new sense of self. This episode is an inspiring look at how addressing generational trauma and subconscious beliefs can free you from the grip of PMDD. If you've been searching for a solution to break free from the roller coaster of PMDD, Mary's story will give you hope and actionable insights into what's possible.
Hi, Mary. Thanks so much.
Hi, nice to see you.
Yeah. So for those who, don't really know what the whole experience of the Red Tent is about, I want you to just begin with your own story, where you were at in your life and what drew you to start working with me.
Okay. So the periods before my menstrual cycle have always been a struggle for me for years and years and years. And it took me a really long time. In hindsight, it feels like I should have been able to put those pieces of the puzzle together sooner to realize that my experience was not a typical experience. So after years and years of suffering, really, where every single month I would have at least 10 days, sometimes closer to 13, 14 days of just turning into, the best way I can describe it is to turning into someone I did not recognize. I just felt like a completely different person every single month. One that sometimes couldn't do really simple tasks, just like getting dressed or brushing my teeth. Just everything seemed completely overwhelming and paralyzing. And again, in hindsight, it seems like I should have been able to figure that out sooner or taken some action to do something about it. But it took me a really long time to figure it out and realize it. And I think I finally got to a point where I realized if I didn't do something, I'm married, I have 2 children. My husband is wonderful and amazing and incredibly understanding. But I think I got to a point where I realized if I didn't do something to shift this, I could wind up, divorced perhaps in a certain number of years because it's just too much of a roller coaster. It'd become too much of a roller coaster.
Even the most understanding, wonderful, loving partner has a limit. I used to say it's, there's only a certain number of times you can break a plate and glue it back together again before it's just a pile of glue and dust, so that was how it was for me too. My partner's also wonderful, and I just couldn't stand how much of a mess I was making of this otherwise beautiful relationship. So I really understand the motivation there also for your children, but the relationship, I think it's he's the one closest that gets the real brunt of all of the. Yeah, you thought I've got to do something about it. And how did you come across me and the work that I do?
So I think I was on Instagram actually, and I just searched the hashtag PMDD, and your Instagram came up, and I started looking into it, and I thought that sounded promising, and I was, willing to try something new, to try something different. To see, I just reached a point where I can't do this any longer. So I think I reached out to you and we had an interview and you made me feel really, really comfortable immediately. I just felt at ease, and I feel like you have a gut feeling about things, and I just thought this is something I want to try.
What did you try before? Because, if you're like me, and I know you were, and so many women who are probably watching this think, I've tried everything, so what did you try?
I do feel like I've tried everything or had tried everything. I'm a pretty healthy person. I've always eaten really well. I've always exercised. I take care of myself. I get good sleep. I don't really have any vices. I don't really drink. I don't do drugs. So I live a healthy lifestyle, for one. I've seen many different therapists from the time I was 18, I think, up until, my 30s. I've tried medications, tried meditation. I've tried everything. Well, not everything, but I've tried a lot of things. And I just felt like I would get some momentum going for a little while, but then it would always come back to this same cycle of just dipping down so low each month that it's like you get this ball rolling, and then all of a sudden you find yourself back to square one again, despite doing all the right things.
And it's exhausting, and it's so disappointing too. And you start to feel it's not just that period itself that's difficult. It's also the aftermath of cleaning up the mess that you make in those times where you haven't been yourself.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The dread of it coming too, knowing that this is coming for me in a couple of weeks, and that's exhausting too, isn't it?
Oh, so exhausting. And again, hindsight is 20/20. Looking back, I think about like conflicts that I've had with different people. I remember in particular, like a fight that I got into with my mother, and we're very, very close. Me just blowing up, and looking back, I know exactly what was going on. So yeah, I was just done with that roller coaster after trying everything and really taking good care of myself, and nothing really was working.
Then you found me on Instagram, and then we had the chat. So then you joined the Red Tent program, and now tell me your experience. I know your experience, but tell the people watching your experience of the Red Tent and what it's like.
I guess if I'm being honest, I didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't know if it was going to work, and I didn't know what that was going to look like. And I remember, I think in that first session, you had me, we did I closed my eyes, and I'm going down the staircase, and having me hold my two arms up, I think. Yeah. And one was like I was holding a balloon, and the other I had a heavy bucket. Yeah. And I immediately, when my arms just, without me doing anything, did this lifting and this falling, I felt a little bit amazed.
Yeah.
And so I think immediately I just went into this space of, okay, this is something that is going to work. I just felt in my gut that this was going to work, because I didn't do that. I didn't.
Yeah. It's your subconscious mind doing it for you. And you're going, whoa, there really is a heavy bucket and a balloon. And that's just this little sort of suggestibility test that we do. But it's also very powerful for you to experience it, because it does give you that, something's really happening that's not just my conscious mind. And my conscious mind's been trying to fix this for decades now.
Yeah.
Now another part of me is in the game, and that's a powerful feeling, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think some things came up that I didn't expect. Some memories, and when you and I walked through them and talked through them and made some connections, I think even one came up that you were like, I'm not sure what this is, like how this connects to everything. But then when we talked through it, you were like, oh, that makes total sense. And it made sense for me. I think it was something about not having my mother around or something like that in a moment in my childhood. Yeah. But it was pretty amazing to see how these things that happened so long ago are still affecting you today. Yeah. And when you work through it, this heavy weight comes off, which is amazing.
I'm like the guide, but it's not me going, do you know what I think is wrong with you? I think it's this. It's your understanding that frees you. So when we were looking over those scenes, and sometimes it is like that for me, I'm like, I don't quite see how that third scene ties in. But your subconscious mind was the one that's given it to you. Right. So you're still in hypnosis. And when we say, okay, so you've got to put it all together now, be a detective, put it all together. And your subconscious mind is there to show you how that puzzle is put together and why it's still affecting you today. And you are telling yourself what the issue is.
Yeah.
And that's where, and it's this deep inner knowledge and this wisdom that you have, and that's the thing that's freeing you. I say that to my clients all the time. you're the hero in this story. You're the one that's going to rescue yourself. I'm just going to facilitate this rescue mission. But it's actually going to be you. And it is that, isn't it? It's an absolute, you go and save that little girl. You become the loving parent to that little child inside of you. And that's the love you've been waiting for. And I mean, it's hard to explain. It all sounds so out there when you're actually, hearing about it for the first time. But it's really a life-changing experience.
Well, and that experience of looking at yourself as a child, and I think that you had me actually imagining myself, my adult self, holding myself as a child and showing that same love to myself that I would show to my own children was incredibly powerful. Yeah. And then I still have my screensaver, my little childhood self on my screensaver saying I am enough. And just, that was hugely powerful for me.
The group element, how did you find that? Because obviously we have our one-on-one stuff where we do the RTT together and have follow-ups together, and you can talk to me over email and messenger as well. So there's that whole one-on-one thing that we have. But then there's the group part where there are other women all around the world, 5 of you at a time going through this similar journey. How did you find that part of it?
I think for so long, I felt so alone in this experience, and trying to explain what my experience was every month. I think, I would try to explain it to my husband all the time. Like, you just don't understand. And then all of a sudden I find myself in this group of women that know exactly what I'm feeling. Just felt really nice and made me feel less alone and made me feel like I'm not crazy,
Yeah.
So I thought that was really great.
So what changes did you begin to notice, and has it stayed with you? And it's been a while, and I haven't spoken to you, so I don't even know what you're going to say to this. How's it been? How was it? What did you notice changed? And how are things now?
I'm kind of at a loss for words because it's just been incredible. I mean, my symptoms have all but disappeared, and little things, creep in, but I think that's just typical for every woman during the time before your menstrual cycle. Yeah. But I actually, after all of this was done, I decided to get certified to become a yoga instructor, which is something I have talked about doing for 20 years. And I just feel like I never had the confidence to do it. And so I went ahead and went through this program. And during the week that would be leading up to my menstrual cycle, that was the culmination of my whole program. And so I had to study for this huge exam. I had to do a live teaching yoga. There was just all these things that were culminating during that week. And you wouldn't even have known that I was coming up to my period, which thinking about that now is mind-blowing for me. It was just not even a blip. And I feel like that has been every month. During that week, there's been all these things going on where normally I maybe would have been stuck in bed, not even able to get out of bed, not even able to make eye contact with people in my own household. That's how debilitating it was for me.
Wow. Yeah.
And now I mean, even right now with everything that is going on in the world, things are crazy right now. My husband owns his own small business, which is completely shut down. So things are really uncertain for us.
Yeah.
And I'm just rolling right through. Everything is fine. So it has been a complete shift in my life.
Yeah, I get that a lot, actually. A lot of women who are in the program at the moment saying, thank goodness that I see this now, because I don't even want to think about, because Corona just kind of kicked off when the Red Tent just started recently. So they just said, I would be in a completely different, I would be beside myself. And I've had a few messages from people, from other women who've been through the program like you, saying the same thing, saying, I'm just present, I'm in the moment. I just know that, would it help to worry? Would it actually help? And to know that right away, that's never going to get me the solution that I think I'm going to get. And just all the stuff you learn just becomes embedded in you, doesn't it? It just becomes part of you. You're a different person at the end, but you're not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do that self-assessment too, where we take the numbers. And I remember yours were, like most women who begin the program, like self-esteem and self-worth premenstrual is down at like a 1 or something. And then by the end of the program, it's a 9 out of 10. And negative self-talk is up at about an 8 or 9. And it comes down to a 0 at the end of the program. And anxiety as well too, it's really high, mostly for a lot of women. And that also just drops down to nothing. Suicidal thinking is often a thing with premenstrual dysphoria, and that's always down to 0. There's never one who says, there's still a little bit. It's like, oh, never, I could never think that. It just sort of something completely changes when you pull out that I'm not enough wound of thorn, because that's what it kind of is, isn't it? I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just this unworthiness that you're stuck with, and you just don't quite know how to get it out. So you get rid of that. Everything upgrades in your whole life. Confident enough to say, I'm going to go do teacher training. Why wouldn't I? What's stopping me? Whereas before, you can feel all this resistance telling you, no, you're not good enough, and who are you to do that? And it's going to be too hard for you or whatever. Yeah, so cool.
No, it's been incredible. I mean, it's actually kind of unbelievable from where I was before and where I am now. And I don't have any fear that I will go back to that place. I'm a changed person. So.
Yeah, exactly. You've built yourself up again from a foundation that's so strong. You can't really be knocked over. I feel the same way. I have no fear of ever going back to how I used to be before. It's just like a turn a page. It's a new chapter. Everything's just different. A new brain you have. You literally do have a new brain. Rewired it completely. And I know that for some women the investment in the program is like, especially when the self-worth's not so high, it's a tricky position to be in, because you don't believe you're worth much, so how can you invest to save yourself? And that's a real hurdle for a lot of women to jump over. If their pet needed an operation and the vet bill was a similar amount, they'd say, here, have my credit card, save my pet.
Yeah.
But if it's about saving yourself, it's just like, I don't know if I can. So, what has it been worth to you?
Just do it. Just do it. Just make the investment. I can't. I don't have many regrets, but I wish I had done something. I wish I had done this sooner, because I feel like I would have some years of my life back that were a lot of suffering. So you can't put a price tag on that. You just can't.
It's your life, and you only get one, that we know of, at least
yeah.
as far as we know. So, and you don't get those days back. And every month that you carry on suffering, it's just another month that's gone. It's another wound in your relationship that you're going to have to patch up later. It really is. It's a no-brainer compared to the investment, compared to what you get. It's priceless.
And not only, for yourself, obviously you're doing it for yourself, but for women that are having a hard time, like you said, like you would do it for your pet or your child, but you are doing it for your family. You're doing it for your partner or your children or whoever your loved ones are that are in your life, because it affects them too.
Absolutely does. And I always, this is the stuff that we're working on. It is generational trauma. We pick stuff up from, and in your case, not so much, but there were things that you made to interpretations that were just misinterpretations of a very small child.
Yeah.
But in some, there'll be a lot of anger from a parent, or perhaps a mother who's very depressed all the time. And then the child comes to think, well, that's because I'm not making mummy happy, so it must be that I'm not good enough. And so this stuff kind of just keeps getting passed down until someone stops and says, this is going to stop with me now. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to face myself and everything that I've been running from, because it does get passed down. We don't mean it to. We really don't want it to. But when that hormonal shift happens and all the pain surfaces, it kind of just possesses you and turns you into someone you'd rather not be. And then you're making wounds in your children that they're going to have to fix.
Yeah.
So, there's that great quote, what was it now? That if you don't heal your wounds, then you're going to bleed on people who didn't cut you. So it's this responsibility to realize, look, I'm not the one who created these wounds, but I'm really the only one who can heal them.
Yeah.
And actually, another huge realization is that we are the ones who create our own wounds in a kind of roundabout way, because it's our own abandonment of ourselves. When we say, that must mean I'm not good enough, when something happens, it's your own appraisal of yourself, and now you've lost your own love. That's the wound. And I don't think that it took me a long time to realize that, it wasn't that my dad didn't love me, so now I'm wounded. It's that when he couldn't love me the way I needed to be loved, I assumed it was because there was something faulty in me.
Yeah.
That's how it gets. And so it's my own appraisal of not good enough that's created the wound.
Yep.
Imagine you run into a woman, or you run into your previous self at the age of, 30 or something. If you could give another woman any advice, a woman with premenstrual dysphoria, what advice would you give her based on what you know now?
I cannot express enough how life-changing this has been for me. I mean, I don't recognize that woman that I was for so many years. She's just not there anymore. So I would say to reach out to you and to go through the program and to trust in the process, because it works.
Pleasure. It's the best job in the world, to have gone through all of that crap myself, and then to have healed, and then to actually know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, and
I think too, I remember you saying something at one point that, this struggle that us women go through that have this thing, it's also your gift. And that has been very true for me. I mean, I know that while all of those years were so hard, but when you come through it, you come to realize that, this sensitivity that you have, this is also your gift. And
if you can heal the trauma, then all you're left with is this sensitivity. So you're not feeling your own pain all the time. Once you heal those wounds over, then you're just nice and feely. And that's Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for sharing your story. I'm sure you're going to inspire so many.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you could take a moment to rate and review the podcast. Your support helps us reach more women who might need this message of hope and healing. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who could benefit from it, a friend, a sister, or someone in your community. You can follow me on Instagram at Natalie Ryan Hebert and at the Red Tent PMDD. I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you there.